I was still playing when I started commentating. I started with BBC in 1963, and then went on 36 years with them, then with Channel 4. But it was a thing that happened in 1956, and the rest of the team in England was able to go to the continent for a 3-week holiday before we went to Pakistan, India. And I was having dinner with the head of light entertainment at BBC at the time, Tom Sloan, and I said, look, television is starting this year in Australia. I want to learn about television. He said, well, everyone would like to learn about television. He said, you're not the first. However, he said, leave it with me and I'll sort out something for you. And he did, and I worked for 3 weeks to his program, listening to people like Peter O'Sullivan, Henry Longhurst, Peter Alice, and all sorts of people like that, Dan Maskell. And that's where it started. And I went back to Australia and walked into the editor's office, got a transfer to the sports department to write for them, write sport, and then started coming over to England every year to work for BBC, continuing that. So that's what it was. It was something that wasn't planned, but in the end it was planned successfully. You've got to prepare by learning about both teams. That's the first thing, and any little odd things that might pertain to either of the teams. Then once you're there and the umpires have called play, you're on your own. You don't have a sub-editor anywhere to save your life. And I did presenting most of the time with Channel 9 and co-presenting with BBC, but you are on your own. And that was the thing I found. The other thing was that when they did a thing on a list of commentators who had done reasonable things, the guy noted about what I'd done was that I restricted myself to looking at the screen and then putting a caption on the picture on the screen. And I think that's certainly one of the things I still do. And there are a variety of things. You've got to be careful in what you say. I always try to avoid asking a statement, and I think that's a problem. Push your brain into gear before you open your mouth is another one. And never forget the value of the pause. That was given to me by Bob Menzies, the former Australian Prime Minister, after he'd made a speech. And I said, nice speech. He said, son, never forget the value of the pause. But I'd always done feature work in television, but what I did was I came to the end of my career as a television commentator in England, and that was when Kevin Pietersen made his 158 at the Oval in his first year against Australia, and Shane Warne was unable to win the match for Australia. That was 2005, and the last ball I ever commentated on was Glenn McGrath running up and bowling out Kevin Pietersen, and never did any more commentary in England because it was bought by Sky, and still doing it in Australia, and I've been doing it in Australia from 1977 World Series cricket through to the present day. I like to be able to describe something without actually describing it, just to provide the picture for the people. One of the things I've always got in mind is it's a privilege to be invited into anyone's home, even if it's by way of a television set. And that's what I try to do, and I try to convey to the people who are doing us a favour and a privilege by having us there, try to paint the picture for them without stating the obvious at any stage.